Welcome to another video, and in this video I'm going to continue doing the same thing as I kind of did towards the end of the last video. Continue driving the car and doing some logs. So last time I just finished doing this part of the braking pier, so now I'm in this, and I'm actually at 170 miles, so I'm very close to finishing off this part and moving on to the third part of the engine break-in. Since I am in the second part of the engine break-in, and especially towards the end, I've definitely been able to push the car just a little bit more, and yeah, so it's definitely awesome to give it a little push. And I'll be lying to you if I haven't pushed the floor pedal all the way down. But yes, very excited. So I'm actually have to do some logs while doing some wide open throttle, so I was very excited to do. Most importantly, if you saw my last DIY video, I finally have AC in the car, because I remember in the last video I was complaining about how hot it was, and because I couldn't run the AC because I didn't have AC, but now that I do, it runs really cool, and it's very exciting to finally have the AC, because I don't like to drive with the windows down, except if I'm going through a tunnel. As mentioned, I'm exactly at 170.8 miles, so I'm very close to that 200 mark. Also, I want to add, from the last recording, I did get another updated tune from Jackal Motorsports, and yes, I keep on repeating myself, I'm very excited, because I am excited. So yeah, so now I can keep on driving the car, and let's do some logs. Alright, so I'm at a good stop where I can record and drive at the same time. So right now I am logging. I'm just doing normal driving. Nothing too fast, nothing too crazy. Shifting gears here and there, and yeah. So it feels amazing to be driving this car right now. So definitely excited. Definitely hear it from inside the cabin. I don't know how good the camera picks it up, but it drives like a dream. So right after this log, I'm gonna make a quick road trip over to Mexico and do a third gear pull, and yeah, going off to Mexico. Next day, just got back from Mexico. I decided to spend the night there. So yes, it pulls really nice, and that's not even pulling any timing just yet. It's still on a semi-conservative tune, to my understanding. So yeah, even with that conservative tune or semi-conservative tune, it pulls, and you can feel it for sure. So it's definitely fun to drive for sure. So yeah, so I'm going back home, and yeah, I think I'm getting close to almost that 200-mile oil change that I need to do. Just got back from my drive to Mexico, and I am ready to go ahead and do the second oil change. So that puts me, so after the trip, I was at 170 before, and now I'm at 193 miles. So I'm almost at 200, and how does that make sense? From here to Mexico and then back, I only drove from 70, so I only drove 20 miles. I don't know, maybe somewhere along the road the speedometer got disconnected and it wasn't reading my odometer, so I think that's probably what happened. But yeah, so now I definitely am due for an oil change, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do the oil change, and then that puts me on the third part of the engine break-in. I'm extracting the oil from the dipstick and using my oil extractor. Definitely nice to get yourself one of these if you don't have one. I loosen up the cap so to remove any so there's no suction or vacuum in there from this, and then once this gets close to finishes, I'm gonna go ahead and crack up this. For the third oil change, it's gonna be a different brand now. So this is now gonna be introducing a synthetic blend, because the first two oil changes were strictly conventional oil only, and now I'm on a synthetic blend, and I'm still using the same weight, 5W30, different brand, and a lot cheaper too than the other break-in, because that was very pricey, but it has to be done. So yeah, so this is way cheaper, and also a new oil filter. As the oil's being changed, at the same time I went ahead and sent off the logs over to Jackal Motorsports, and then from there see if I get another tune. Again, I thought I wasn't gonna get another tune, but I did end up getting another tune, so I probably may or may not, I don't know. So we'll see what Jackal Motorsports needs to do, if anything else needs to be calibrated, or maybe it does, because now that I'm in the third part of the engine brake now, that it might need to, you know, get a little bit better. Who knows. One thing I want to show you guys is I'm emptying out this, is so you guys can see just how liquidy the oil is. And again, this is that break-in oil, which is this right here. So this is, you know, the conventional 5W30, the last set of, like I said before, and you can see how liquidy, you know, this is. Again, it is warm, the oil, so that is expected. Oils do tend to get a little bit thinner as they heat up, which is with anything, with heat, things to get a little bit thinner, but you can see just how water-like it looks like. So pour it out. Again, I don't know if the camera does a good job in showing this, but and normally whenever I do oil changes, when I use the funnel, when I do pour quite a bit into the funnel, like the oil tends to like kind of start backing up, and I have to stop to let it sink in, but this thing just sinks right through it. Now, so you can see what I mean, like I'll even just look at that, it just goes right through that funnel like nothing. Now that the oil has cooled down to room temperature, now I'm going to show the difference as when it was just fresh out of the engine warm, and now that it's at room temperature, how it goes back to its regular thickness at room temp. So you can see how it just, you know, it doesn't go through the funnel as fast as before. Now here's the new filter. If you already don't know, the cap for the oil filter does need to be torqued down to 25 Newton meters, and it says it right here. So go ahead. In goes the new oil. Part 2 of the engine break-in is finished. Now I'm on to the 201 to 1,000 miles. There is a slight hiccup. So my last drive, I know there are some pieces of rubber. So you can, I didn't clean it all the way, but I don't know if the camera will see it. There's like pieces of from the belt. You can see some pieces right there. So I haven't cleaned it just out yet. So what's happening is this belt right here is starting to tear on me. At first I probably thought it was this part right here. So this part right here I needed to grind a little bit so that the belt will have clearance, but after looking at it, it didn't look like it. So I was kind of seeing if I can see anything down below where the belt goes, and I know the camera's not going to pick it up, but down the belt tensioner, I'm sorry, it looks slightly crooked. So by that being it crooked slightly this way, the belt is rubbing up against what I believe is the oil cooler, because down on this end right here is where it's getting like kind of like coming off, because this side of the belt is good, but this side is starting to tear on me. So when I was looking at it, 5-rib belt down to a 4-rib belt. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the whole front bumper, put it in service mode, and see what's wrong with the belt. I already ordered another belt. It should be here in a few days, and see if that tensioner is bad. If it's already been going bad, and it could be a few things. It could be like maybe because the way I've been driving lately, I kind of been pushing it a lot. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, or I didn't torque it right, which I don't think that's the cause, but I mean, you know, that could be it. Or from when I got the car waterlocked, and all of a sudden that sudden stop may have jerked the auto tensioner off, and it just, with time, it just kind of started degrading little by little. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the auto tensioner as to why it's slightly crooked. So at least I know that's why my serpentine belt is starting to fade. Got the belt off, and originally this is supposed to be a 5-rib, and now it's a 4-rib. So I'm all for weight reduction, but not weight reduction in this scenario. So my suspicion was correct. It was the auto tensioner. So you can see that is loose. So I don't know if it just started coming undone or it's completely damaged, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove the auto tensioner and see if this needs to be tightened and how I can if it does just need to be tightened, I'll definitely put some Loctite or see what needs to be done. But if this thing is shot, it's definitely a goner. So I have some good news. So it looks like it is this bolt that you can hear that started coming undone, which made my tensioner. So I'm gonna go ahead, remove this, put some Loctite on it, and yeah, torque it down and then put it back. If you are curious what it looks like, so you got the screw, looks like this little washer spacer, you got the pulley itself with the bearing, and then which then connects to the tensioner. So I'm still gonna go ahead and look around, see. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary from this. I'm gonna give this a nice clean, get that little gunk off, but for sure gonna Loctite this and yeah, screw this down and it should be good to go. As I was putting this back together just to see things, if there's anything out of the ordinary, something that I noticed. So I did not torque this down just yet. So on the back side, there's still threads that are not being used by the bolt. So that means that this bolt is a little bit shorter. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, since the belt doesn't arrive till Friday, so that gives me time. So tomorrow after work, go to the hardware store and get the same, type bolt, but longer, so I can go ahead and utilize all these threads on the arm of the auto tensioner. With the idea with using a longer bolt, to utilize all the threads, is there's going to be more surface area on the threads, and with more surface area, including with the Loctite, there's less chance of this backing out again on me, because I want to try to minimize that ever happening again. So that's what I'm gonna tomorrow after work, because the belt doesn't arrive till this Friday, so that gives me time to, after work, go to a hardware store, get a longer bolt that will utilize all these threads on the arm and Loctite it, and then just kind of play the waiting game again. With the belts, I actually ordered 3 belts and not just one, because say it happens again or something else happens, that means I gotta play the waiting game again and then order it and then wait for the belt to arrive, because the belt that I need, the size belt, I can't get it here at the local auto parts stores, because they don't have that size. So it's just easier for me to order 3 and have 2 spare ones off to the side. Just like, I hope I don't have to use it, but just better to have it and not use it than to need it and not have it. Alright, finally have the new bolt installed. The bolt that I used was a M8 by 40 1.25 thread, and with the bolt I actually had to trim it down just a little bit because the threads don't go all the way through. So if you were to try to thread it in through here, it won't pass. So what happened is, since the bolt was slightly kind of long, it would stop. So this is an example, like I would thread it and it will stop right here, even though I still had plenty of threads right here to still go in. But whatever, I don't think this has threads all the way through. So what I had to do, I had to grind it down just a little bit and smooth out the thread part so that it can so it can screw in. So that's why if you look at it, it looks like it's been ground down. So that's what that's for. So technically it's not really 40 mil, it's probably like maybe 38 millimeter long bolt. But yes, then I went ahead and torqued it down. So now I have the little strike marks, so I know if this ever gets loose again, I can tell. And as I said before, all the threads are now being utilized on this thing. So I'll actually show you a before and after image here on the screen, so you can see the difference in the threads. So you can see the picture on the left is all the threads being utilized, and the picture on the right is how it was before, where you still had threads showing. Since this bolt is a M8, I have a little cheat sheet on my little whiteboard here. So usually there's kind of like what Audi uses for their size, for their torque values, depending on the size of the bolt. So since it's an M8, I went and torqued this down to 20 Newton meters, kind of like what I have written right there. Now I can go ahead and install the tensioner back, and then I still have one more day for that belt to arrive. Good news, the belts finally arrived, and like I said, I ordered 3 of them, so one of them is going to go on the car, and then the other 2 will just be for spares. now I can go ahead and put all this back together again. It's back together again. So now that everything's all back together again, I can go ahead and continue where I left off in what I was gonna do actually. So I was actually gonna do some before and after temps. Now that I have this wall installed, so actually in my last video that I uploaded, I talk about how I did the wall and also how I did the air duct that feeds air to the air filter. In the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and do a DIY on how to install the air vents. So for right now, before I install the air vents on the hood, I'm gonna do before and after air temps with this and with this thing off. So I'm gonna go back to what I was gonna do originally, but it wasn't for the belt incident. So now and the hood vents are actually in this box. I'll actually reveal those in the video when I do the how to drill a hole in your hood to the point of no return. So that's gonna be kind of scary but exciting too, because I finally get to have some hood vents on the car, because I've been talking about vents on the hood for a while now. So I'm pretty excited and I think the look, it will make it look really nice. And then after I'm finished doing all those the testing with the air temps before and after, I'll continue I'll still be doing, you know, the break-in process and whatnot, but I'll be mostly focused on now actually driving the car, because right now I just want to get this as cool as I can in the time being, without going, like I said before, without going the water meth injection route. Still won't be for a while. I just want to, you know, enjoy the car, driving it, and not have it, you know, stuck like this, because I'm working on it, which is always going to be the case with this car. But if I can just go ahead and drive, I'm just going to keep on driving and enjoying it. So it's definitely a lot more fun to drive, especially with the new setup and all that. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope you guys have a good one. Thanks.